Well, howdy. I haven't recorded anything in a while, locksmith related. I'm not really gonna do too much locksmith stuff right now. I think I'm just gonna kind of clean up the van. I haven't recorded anything in a while. I don't know if you can see the dog here. This is Paul, my son. He's in the Air Force, so he kind of had to give him up. And I thought, well, you know, he's gonna wind up having to take him to a shelter, and we didn't want to see him get put to sleep. He's a good dog. He's a pup, about 1 year, 9 months old. We have another dog that we got from my mother and father-in-law, who are both elderly and not able to take care of an animal, so we went ahead and took their dog too. So anyways, I'm just kind of cleaning up the step van. Let me see if I can move this around without jerking around too much. I got a mess, and part of it's just that I haven't really done too much. I had surgery on my hand, so I kind of had to take off for a few weeks because it is through an employer, and I don't, you know, I can do locksmithing, but I'm going to have to delegate and have my son do the actual locksmithing part. You silly dog. Come on. Come on. You silly dog. Yeah. Anyways, that's I need to get that emergency brake fixed right there. I have a part that I ordered. It should have been here about a week ago, and it got back ordered to what was it? Sometime in January. Anyways, I don't really have much. I'm gonna put this in carburetor in the vehicle sometime soon. Still working. Everything runs fine. It's doing its thing like it's supposed to. The automatic's good. People kind of want to know why I went away from points and coil. You know, condenser type ignition. The problem I had wasn't with the points and the coil. The problem was with the condensers, and they just I went through a couple of them so quick that I just decided I don't want to mess with it. And it's kind of hard to check the points on the old style GM. Anyways, I'm not gonna go into the whole spiel on automotive. This is strictly just cleaning up a locksmith vehicle. So let me see if I can set this camera up to where it's you're actually getting a view of what I'm doing. So I think, let me see. Maybe you can see me. I don't know. I don't really. You better watch out, buddy. Yeah. Not a good spot to be. Sorry about that, Paul. His name's Paul. When I asked my son why he named him Paul, he said, well, that's what he was named when I got him. So, okay. And you know, he seems to know some of saying, sit. Yep. Sit, lay down, that's good, close enough. At least he does that. So he does obey some commands. Anyways, I got a mess. I've been kind of a mess with this organization. It works for what I'm doing, and it's a quick, easy fix, but it's not exactly the way I want to do it. Once I get a little bit back onto the road to do stuff and I can use my hand full time, I'm not even supposed to really be using it. So it's like I'll do a little minimal stuff here to pick stuff up. I kind of need to exercise it, move it around. It's a trigger finger release, and it's from repetitive use. And I don't know why it's this finger because I never really use that for anything. Usually it's more the whole hand, but I have problems in my palms on both sides of my elbow. And you know, it's work related, not locksmith work. I'm not full time as a locksmith, so it's like I don't really do so much here. It's more, I make more than a hobby, but less than full time, and it's by choice. And you know, as my son gets more and more better doing locksmithing, I'm gonna let him do more and more of the locksmithing, and then I will still do stuff with them. But while I'm having hand problems, I'd rather him do as much as possible. But I don't have him doing jobs on his own because he'll go to open up a vehicle. But that's about all I have him doing right now. These diabetes strip things that you put your strips in, these are pretty good little things to have. And so I use these for pins. I don't know if you can see my pin kit. And it's safe way, if I dump this, there are still some free floating pins in here, but I'm going to start dumping them all back into these canisters, and that way I have those for, you know, it's safe. Your big pin kits you gotta watch out for, because your big pin kits, they, if you drop one, even if the lid stays latched, it could cause the lid to slightly be ajar to where it would allow pins to slip over to each side. And it'd be neat if we had a pin kit that actually had holes already cut in it for these. And I thought maybe I can even make something. I don't know. It'd be neat if I had a plasma cutter, you know, like a CNC plasma cutter. Now I can just make a whole bunch of tables, and you know, you can make all the pin kits and then just use these kind of containers. You can even buy these containers without, you know, the diabetes strips. You can just buy them just regular, you know, reuse plastic bins. They're really handy to have. I have, it's actually like 60 degrees. It says 50 in here. I do have a Mr. Buddy heater, but I'm not going to hook up right now. I don't really need to. But it does help to have a source of heat in a vehicle. But I've found most of the lock jobs I've done lately, as it got cold, or even in the summer, I can do a lot of it right in my customer's house. And I'll take in my plug follower kit. Or here, let's see here. I take this in, and I do pretty much everything on it. Just right there. You know, I got my followers, my extra screwdrivers, brush, quick set, rekey, you know, smart key. I have the smart key cylinders in here. I keep all my extra stuff. I even have tubular lock, you know, a rekey kit to allow me to be able to, not tubular lock, but profile cylinder. Anyways, I mean, I keep everything in here, and I just take this in the house, and I take a little pinning mat with me. And usually it's my little small one. I just take in one of these small ones here, and just, that's all I need. I can even roll that up and keep it in here. And that way, I can do everything right there. Just take a pin kit with me. You know, I can even condense down the pin kit if I want, you know, to make it easier, but you know, I don't really need to. But I can go do all that at a customer's house, and they don't care. They kind of, you know, some of them don't really like you constantly walking in and out of their house. So it's kind of, I've noticed that, where it's like, hey, you know, can I set up shop in here, or is there something in particular, you know, I need to do? You know, sometimes homeowners will let you take your shoes off, stuff like that. I just want to make as little trip as possible, because that's part of your labor, is the traveling back and forth into a house. You know, it's, I mean, if you're out in the driveway and you got to walk around stuff, get in the vehicle, get resituated, it might be 2 minutes, you know, 3 minutes. So with the rekey, if I just pop the doorknob off, lately what's been happening is my son will go on ahead and you know, remove the doorknobs, and we'll just set up shop with that little kit right there, and then I'll grab a pin kit, depending on, you know, if it's a quick set schlag. I do have a multi-kit that is quick set and schlag put together, but it's one of those things that the less trips you make, the more time you save. So if you can do everything right there in the house, it's already got climate control, you know, heating, AC is already there, you know, it works perfect. So back to cleaning up my mess. Now I want to mention something. I had a call here a while the other day. It wasn't a call, it was a Yelp. Someone got hold of me on Yelp and wanted to know if I could make keys by code. And you know, of course you can. You know, it wasn't even code, it was the direct bidding, you know, that was on a key. And it was a KW1, and it was you know, 5-pin, of course. And you know, the numbers were all your standard. There was a 7 depth, which to me implies, you know, usually that's not a standard quick set pin. You know, I mean, you can find, you know, 7-pin in quick set, but like with mine, I have a Society brass collection here, and there is no 7. I do keep a 7 right here, you know, and I got some extra ones and stuff, but the 7-pin usually, from what I've seen, it's very rarely used. It's more, you know, involved with what do you call it, master key. But I will say this too, that a 7-pin can also be used to make it harder to pick or bump. Probably more harder to pick a quick set keyway, because the moment you put something in, if you put the number 7 cut in the first pin, order, like 7, 6, 6, 5, 4, or whatever, if number 7 is the first cut and you put a number 7 pin in there, anytime you try to pick that quick set lock, you're almost immediately raising that 7 to beyond the shear, so it makes it harder to pick. I'm not saying it's impossible. Bumping probably get it open, but it does make it hard to pick. It's we used to have a technical term for it, but anyways, so back to the story. I'm sorry I got sidetracked. So they wanted me to cut this key by the bidding. Well, when I rekey a home or business, I usually give whoever hires me the bidding that I use for their key, and I tell them to keep that number in a safe place. So it's not uncommon for someone to say, "Hey, I need another key, for my daycare or whatever," and no one will make them because I stamp them do not duplicate a lot of times, not residential but commercial. And so I'll tell them, well, what's the bidding, and I know they're authorized because it's the person I gave it to. So I'll get the bidding, and then I'll go ahead and make the key for them. And maybe I drive up, maybe they pick it up. But when you cut by code too, I said when you cut by code, sometimes it costs more because you have to look it up on the code software. If you cut by bidding, I don't know how everyone else does it. Some people don't have a duplicator. They use a code cutter like an HPC or the 1200. I'll code cut one key and then I'll use the duplicator for the rest. Depends on if it's a high security or a higher tolerance keyway. But anyway, so I went ahead and I told the guy, well, I can cut it with the bidding number, and I asked him if it was KW1 or SC1, and he told me KW1, so I did it for him. And the later the night got, the more nervous I got about doing that. It's nothing wrong with doing that. You can call Easy Keys, and Easy Keys will go on ahead and cut the key for you. And I told the guy, you're gonna grab his notepad real quick. I told the guy that I would like a copy of his driver's license, and because it was gonna be late at night before he picked it up, I just left it in my mailbox, left the flag down, put it in the envelope, sealed it, and it had his name on it. So when he came by to get it, if someone said, "Hey, somebody went in your mailbox," at least it had his name on it. So I use one of these. It's an authorization locksmith security release form. And this is one of those things that says, "By my signature below, I certify that I am authorized to order the locksmith work described below to be performed on this property. I agree to absolve the locksmith performing this work of any responsibility from any claims arising from the performance of work as described below." And the description of work, in the top line. And then if automobile, you fill in the rest of that stuff. Name, signature, address, city, state, zip, driver's license number. So I use this. That's my main, for cutting keys where I suspect something's off, I will use this. And I got the guy's license info, so that wasn't a big deal. And, I can't stop people if they're doing something nefarious and breaking the law. I mean, any locksmith shop would usually, if you came in and said, "I need a key made," we did have the number, here's the bidding, and most brick and mortar would probably just make the key right there. Sight unseen, know who it's going to. I mean, I get people, with the office furniture, and they want keys made too, and so sometimes it's by code, and I don't know who I'm giving them to, but Easy Keys does it. eBay people, there's locksmiths on there. They'll cut any key you want to code. So it's like, am I wrong for doing what I did? I don't know. I probably am going to be more careful because I've never met the guy, and I did. I will say I got on the case.net or casenet.mo. I'm in Missouri, and I looked up the guy's name based on his driver's license and his picture. And there was nothing. There was no record of him doing anything. But that's just Missouri. He was from Smithville, which is a town away, a couple towns away. So there's that. So I went ahead and did the key, left it out for him. He's supposed to pay me, someday. It's one of those deals, anyways. there's a thing where, as a code of ethics, I got to make sure that I'm not doing any harm to anybody out there. And so my whole point of talking about this is it's a conversation to think about. If you agree or disagree, that's fine, and I understand one way or the other. Some people, I don't get rich making keys. I don't make a lot of money cutting duplicates or cutting my code. You know, I just did it because there was a customer asking for a key to be made, and he gave me the details I needed to make it. So that's what I did. And I don't know why, it just kind of bothered me later. So maybe I won't do that anymore. You know, it's different if it's an office building and there's a way to track it. But I don't know who the guy is other than his driver's license. I don't know where he works, where he lives, other than what his driver's license says, which could be wrong. You know, maybe he's moved. I have to keep an eye on those things. And I think as a locksmith, we have to keep an eye on that stuff. The other thing is, I want to talk about, you know, bringing up the code of ethics. I seen on a Nextdoor app, I don't really, you know, advertise on there, but someone said that they had a friend that needed car work done. They didn't have much money, and they told him to go talk to this guy at this auto lot that does car work. Well, when I guess the lady told the guy that she didn't have much money, and, you know, if there's something they can work out, and I don't know what she meant by working out, but he obviously thought it meant, you know, SEX, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, you know, a little performance stuff. But so she got upset that he even, you know, suggested that and told her friend, you know, and of course she passed on it because that's kind of, you know, demeaning, you know, for someone that is broke. That they, you know, that's what they're reduced down to, is that they have to perform, you know, stuff like that to get stuff done. I don't judge anybody, because there's probably people out there that do that, and, you know, you got all these other things like OnlyFans and everything else. You know, they have ways to make money. I mean, they sell farts in jars, you know, for like big money. I hear. I just see people making fun of, you know, the things people do to make money on OnlyFans. But I mentioned, you know, in the comments that, you know, personally, without getting into the whole defamation of, you know, he said, she said, she had the conversation in her text messages of what they was talking about. And so, you know, everyone on Nextdoor was like, you need to call the cops, this and that. And I don't know. That's wrong for the guy to have done that. And in my state, prostitution's illegal, and you can call it whatever you want, but, you know, if you are talking sexual stuff in trade for favors, money, labor, anything like that, it's considered prostitution. And so, this gets back into that code of ethics thing. Let me see if I have a copy of that. So, you know, we have what you call, you know, like the Saint Baldemeros is the patron saint of locksmiths, and he worked as locksmith in Lyon, France, and died in 650 AD. So this oath or code of ethics is patterned after the Hippocratic oath of the medical profession. But, you know, I do solemnly vow to that which I value and hold most dear. I will honor the profession of locksmithing, be just and generous to its members, and help sustain them in their service to humanity. That just as I have learned from those who preceded me, I will instruct those who follow me in the science and the art of locksmithing. That I will recognize the limits of my knowledge and pursue lifelong learning to better protect people and secure their property. That I will seek the counsel of others when they are more expert, so as to fulfill my obligation to those who entrust me with their safety and security. That I will not withdraw from my customers in their time of need. That I will lead my life and practice my art with integrity and honor, using my knowledge and ability wisely. That whosoever I shall see or hear the lives of my customers that is not fitting to be spoken, I will keep in confidence. That I will disclose to all whom I serve what they must know to maintain their security and the means necessary to maintain that security. That into whatever home or business I shall enter, it shall be for the safety and protection of the people and property therein. That I will maintain this sacred trust, holding myself far aloof from wrong, from corruption, from the tempting of others to vice. That above all else I will serve the highest interests of my customers to the practice of my science and my art. That I will be an advocate for people in need and strive for equality in their security. And while I apply my craft for the benefit of my customers in particular, I will always apply discretion in preserving the security of each and every member of the general and public. I now turn to my calling, promising to fulfill its finest traditions with the reward of a long experience and the joy of providing protection, safety, and security. And I make this vow freely and upon my honor. And I do, and I feel this way. And that's where, you know, there's that part of me with that whole cutting a key by code or bidding, you know, I got to be mindful of what risks and hazards I may have, you know, expose, you know, a possible customer or a possible person in the you know, the general public. That I don't want someone to get hurt or ripped off or anything because of my own actions, or, you know, not following through on my obligations, you know, as a locksmith. And having a code of ethics, I mean, I see there's other channels to talk about it. If you go back into my channel, there's all kinds of, I had 2 or 3 videos where I kind of discuss code of ethics, practices. I don't like knocking out the locksmiths. Sometimes you do a job and you just do a shoddy job, you know. Sometimes, you know, you're not prepared for the situation you're in, so you may find yourself having to chain a door, screw a door shut, something, you know, and then you'll come back. But I've never left the customer hanging. I've always gone back, and I always go for 5-star service no matter what. And if you look at my reviews, I mean, I only have, you know, I think 7 reviews. It's hard to get customers to actually do reviews, but I have all 5 stars. And I have locksmiths that occasionally what they do is they'll do the best job they can, and the customer will give them 4 stars. And so it's like, why didn't you give me 5 stars? And the customer says, well, I don't give anyone 5 stars. I mean, but the customer, if you as a trade person do everything right for the customer, and this is also to the customer, if the trade person does everything right for the job, then it's 5 stars. I mean, give that 5th star, because it makes it look like if they only got 4 stars, they did something wrong. And that's my feeling about it. That's kind of how I feel about it. But you know, I don't know some of the other locksmiths, they do code of ethics. That's part of the Foley bell saw thing we do. You know, if you look in the Foley bell saw manuals, in the very first section, it starts talking about code of ethics. I think even in I have you know, Bill Phillips, you know, book, and I always keep that there. It's an old book, you know. There's things, you know, about it that are nice to have. You know, there are. It talks in here about you know, somewhere here, Code of Ethics of Locksmith on page 432. There is a newer version of this book, but you know, I think they got this from their Code of Ethics in here from Aloha. 432. Let's see what it says. And it talks about it. Always safeguard your locksmithing tools. Never duplicate a master key or a key stamp. Do not duplicate for anyone without first obtaining written permission from a person who has legal control of the key. Never unlock a vehicle or building without first assuring yourself that the person hiring you to unlock it is authorized to do so. Keep a written record of the model year and license plate number of every vehicle you are hired to unlock. Also keep a written record of the name and driver's license number of every person who hires you to unlock a vehicle. And I'll do it for anyone who wants me to do a code cut a key or even with the bidding. Keep a written record of the address of every building you have been hired to unlock. Also keep a written record of the name and driver's license or number from other positive identification of every person who hires you to unlock a building. Don't perform locksmithing services that you are not qualified to perform. Perform each locksmithing job to the best of your ability, regardless of the price you're charging the customer. Absolutely, 100%. So, anyways, I don't want to get into arguing all this, but I've really come out here to clean the van, do a little talk. I haven't done a video in a while, and I need to keep working on my channel. I got kind of sidetracked with the vehicle, trying to get it going again, and it's going now. I can drive it. It's all good. I have a carburetor to make adjustments to. Part of my shifting issue I'm having right now is because of the carburetor, because the throttle position sensor is making it so it doesn't see the position of the throttle correctly with the load. But I can drive everywhere now, and I have overdrive gear, so I get better gas mileage. That is something, if you're ever looking into a vehicle, don't get the 3500, you know, like a GMC 3500 or the P3500 or the Ford E3500, or I don't know what's the E3500, but the Transit 3500 or the GM 35, because it has a higher gear ratio, usually 4 and up, 411, 456. I think this vehicle here is 456. Yeah, it's not posi-tracked, but it's dualies. So if it has dualies, it's probably a heavy duty. It's probably going to be a really, I don't know if you call it 456. Is that a high gear or low gear? I don't know what direction. I think it's a high gear, meaning it's higher RPM, or it turns more, for the revolution of the drive shaft. Anyway, so that's kind of one of those things. If you're looking for vehicles with better gas mileage, you get a smaller vehicle. I love my step van, and with this overdrive, it's a better deal now, but it's probably still kind of screaming about 80 miles per hour. I can live with it. It's better than that manual transmission I had. Anyways, let me see, that 24 volt. I need to put this electric stuff there. I got a mess. I just wanted to chit chat. Haven't talked in a while. And thank you all to the people that follow me and try to do stuff on my, answering questions that I have, or leaving comments. I appreciate it. Sorry, I just kind of had a bad year of recording videos, and it's 100% my fault, of course, but it's just hard to be motivated. And with this hand stuff being a problem, I don't really like recording on a customer's on-site job, because sometimes customers get a little nervous about that stuff, because and I sometimes deal with homes that on the outside look really nice, and on the inside they're like hoarders, so it's like I don't want to make someone feel uncomfortable, and that goes back to protecting your customers, the dignity that your customers should be afforded. I shouldn't be judging people like that. And back to that thing with the Nextdoor article where the lady was propositioned. In my state, that's illegal, and you can get into defamation stuff. Her making that claim, and everyone's saying you need to expose the person, put the name out there. I'm just going to say defamation. The only way you beat defamation, if you're getting sued for defamation, is whoever's on the side of the truth will win. So if you're making an accusation about someone else, and you have the evidence to prove it, then they don't have a case. They're better just to eat it, apologize, do whatever. On the other side, if you're being defamed and they don't have any evidence, any proof, then you're on the side of right, and they should drop, or through the whole cease and desist, and all the little things that happens before you actually sue somebody. I know that personally, because I have a family member that had some people defame him, and of course it was total bogus, and he had all the evidence he needed to show in his business dealings that he didn't do anything wrong, and they was making accusations that was flat out wrong. It was just trying to, and they admitted that they were just trying to run their lives, what they was trying to do. So they sued them, and they did cease and desist. One guy dropped out, said, I don't want to do it. I pulled anything of my accusations. And then the other individuals, they hung in there. And then in the very end, it's like he had everything, they had nothing. And then they wound up having to sign a thing saying that they intentionally did it to run their life, and that was all bogus, and they admitted to lying. And he won, But the problem was, to settle it quick, they settled on a specific number, which it was a privately held thing, to where he didn't have to go public and say, hey, see what these people did to me. It kind of, I don't like how it'd been nice to really expose them publicly, but what it did was they pulled back everything they said, and they agreed that if it ever comes up, these accusations come back to haunt this person, that they'll fix it, and they'll have to go and confess to say what happened, but it's privately held, and it just kind of all goes away, and they would have to pay money if something ever causes damage to this person down the road because of the accusations they made in the past, that they'll have to pay the full sum plus non-presence or without prejudice. He could sue them for all damages, and there was a lot of damages, probably about $20,000-$25,000 worth. But at the time, all they wanted was for it to stop, the harassment, and because they didn't have a whole lot of money, they didn't want to go through the whole court deal. So that's kind of how that went. But that is a defamation thing, when you make accusations about someone. So But that thing on Nextdoor, as a locksmith, I would never entertain that kind of a proposition. If someone offered, favors of that variety. I mean, it's just immoral. It's unethical. Not that I'm against, sex workers or any of that stuff. I mean, if we're supposed to be a free country, then let the market regulate itself, with regulations, to make sure everyone's safe and etc. There's a lot of bad stuff that happens in that industry, so that goes with it. But I'm not a part of that, so I don't. That's my opinion. I've rambled so much in this last few minutes, so sorry I've been all over the spectrum, with what we've been talking about. I don't really know what else to say, as far as locksmithing, as far as code of ethics, as far as how you talk to other people, customers, doing business. I haven't been that busy by choice because of my hand, because when you have an injury and you're on workman's comp, you're bound by that company that you're not going to go out and do something that's going to cause the injury to get worse. And so I've done nothing. I mean, other than clean up out here. I haven't even worked on my step van because it's like it's painful. I've been using it, but it's painful, and it's getting better. I can pick stuff up, but I'm not squeezing much. I mean, I'll hold stuff, but it's like I'm gonna take it easy because I need this to heal. Because with what may happen in the next few months, if we get into this tariff thing, because I also work for one of the big three. Yeah, that's my full-time job, and I do locksmithing, here and there. But it's like I haven't been able to do anything, with this hand thing. But working with one of the big three, we're always at threat of getting laid off for plant closures or stuff like that. So, and I'm also in the maintenance department, so I usually get to work when most people don't. But if something happens where my job, the plant shuts down or goes away or they idle, it's like I need to make sure I'm in good physical shape, to be able to do the job, because I'll just do locksmithing full time. And I have no doubt I can make more money doing locksmithing than working for one of the big three. My issue is with the big three, I get vacation, and I get holiday, I get benefits, I get insurance is taken care of. I can work just my normal shift all week. I don't have to work overtime if I don't want to. I can if I do want to. I mean, there is that option. Even with this injury, I can go to work, and I'm not supposed to do certain jobs, because of the injury. But that's something with working for someone else, where when you are your own boss, your own locksmith, and there's a lot of locksmiths that I know I'm friends with here on YouTube and elsewhere. But there are a lot of locksmiths that they are their own boss, and it can get kind of rough. I mean, when the going's great, when the going's good, it's great. When it's not, it kind of sucks. And so you start looking at expanding what you're able to do. So that also brings up another thing. I live in the Kansas City, Missouri area. Our local association, our Locksmith Association, used to be the Missouri-Kansas Locksmith Association, the MKLA. Well, the association had to disband, and we just restarted. We reformed under a new one. I don't even know the name of it. National Alliance of Security Professionals, something like that. I don't even understand the website. They've done some stuff, and working at on the big three. The days we have our locksmith meeting, I usually miss, so I'm kind of stuck with that, to where I can't be a part of that decision making on how they do stuff. But it's gotten kind of weird, and we usually meet at a hotel, and we pay rent, monthly to have this one room, and they provide coffee and stuff. But we also meet at the Intermountain Locksmith Supply House, IMLS, but which is a great company, by the way. And so is IDF Hoffman. So Smallwood, in my area, Smallwood Lock is a family-owned business, and it's a retail or wholesale place for locksmiths. Great place. So I'm not saying anyone's better than the other, but our association kind of changed hands, and it's gotten kind of weird where if you're a locksmith, I mean, you can go there and get training. Some training you pay for. They have safe manipulation classes. They have all kinds of classes where you can get certified in all kinds of things. And the guy there, he's kind of the big wheel, you know. I say big wheel. He's kind of like the head guy. His name's Joshua Sands. I think Key City Locksmith is his locksmith company. Great guy. Does an excellent job. I think he come from St. Louis and then Chicago before that. And he knows a lot about the scammer stuff. You know, how to spot scammers. And now I'm going to do more, hopefully the next video too, I'm going to go over some scammer stuff that it needs to be a shorter, quicker video than me just rambling here. Part of my rambling is coffee. But, and I also come out here and do stuff. But anyways, I just wanted to mention that association. If you are in the Kansas City, Missouri area, or Kansas City, Kansas area, or if you're in Kansas or Missouri, and you want to join that association, leave some in the comments, and I can leave a link in the description. And always check the description of my videos, because I sometimes I'll edit, do touch-ups, try to fix stupid stuff that I say. I'm like non-scripted at all, and I don't know if I'm going to edit this video at all. Even stepping on Paul's paw, I kind of felt bad for that, but it's just going to stay there because I don't have time to edit this stuff. But anyways, check out the description. If you're interested in joining this association, we're trying to grow it. There is a Facebook group for it, and it's closed. But most people that are on Facebook that are locksmiths, you get in to go on onto some of the groups like Locksmith Nation, Locksmith Friends. I used to be in some of those groups before I left Facebook in 2017, and I got back on about a year ago, and just I didn't really want to get involved in all the locksmith stuff. You know, some of that stuff, they get kind of snooty, and I don't know what it is with people. They just, social media has just ruined people's, you know, I don't know how you say it. People don't have the same people skills they used to. I try to get along with everybody, even on social media, and even if I'm trying to clean up a conversation by trying to clarify stuff, you know, about, you know, someone saying something. I'm just one of those people, if someone asks for help, I'm going to try to help them. I'm not going to say just call a locksmith. I'm going to do what I can to help them, you know, because that's just kind of the person I am. And even on Reddit, I'm in the locksmith groups on Reddit, and it says we're clearly in there. Don't, you know, if someone asks a question, don't just say call a locksmith. People have a right to ask a question, and of course people have a right to say call a locksmith, but I mean, be helpful. If anything, kind of just, you know, people need to be nicer. We're in such an environment that you can't even talk without having a disagreement that gets heated to where people block each other, you know, or hit ignore or hide or whatever. I don't really, it used to be if you don't have something nice to say, then just don't say nothing. And then it became, if you don't like what you're reading, then just keep scrolling. You know, don't report, don't do all this flag, whatever. Just keep moving. Granted, you know, there are things that, you know, if there's something that's just totally, you know, horrible, you know, then probably, you know, do that, you know, flag it, you know, report it, something. But I mean, as far as opinions, there's no reason why people can't just find a way to agree to disagree, and that's what we got wrong lately, is we can't just agree to disagree, you know. And maybe we can't agree to disagree, but we still just can't move on. And so, I don't know, I'm just running my frickin' mouth, just talking a bunch of stuff. I just thought I'd come out here and clean up my mess that I've got, keep the dog kind of preoccupied, give him something else to do other than chase the cats around the house. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm probably gonna get rid of some stuff. I have a fancy, an old vintage key machine in my house I'm selling. I'm probably gonna get rid of this. This is the same one that ESP has, and I'm probably, you know, if someone's local, I'll sell it to them pretty cheap. I've tried to use it a few times, and it just never comes out the way I want it to, you know. And it's just me. It could be just me. You know, ESP has their own version. I think it's the 889. This is actually a nice one because it has the micrometer piece there, but where you can adjust the height that way instead of just loosening up set screw and, you know, raise and lower the tool. I just don't do any side track, you know. It's not, I don't know why we call them a laser cutters. This is not a laser. You know, it's a milling machine that's duplicating as a vertical mill. But I love my HPC, and I really love my framing too. You know, I have this old Dominion key machine. It's a 12 volt, you know, and a 120 volt, which I need to figure out the 12 volt part. I'm selling it too. And it looks like it's hard to ever cut a key on it. I mean, when you open it up, it looks almost brand new. I'm selling it too. That's on a couple of the different forums I'm on. I'm just going to get rid of this, and then I'm going to put one of my copiers. I have a mini version of this. I'm going to probably just move this over to there and then put the mini right here so I can, you know, come from this side here. But I got a mess. I'm trying to get through it. I have part of this became a carburetor rebuild station, and then I've also done some lock work, you know, here recently where I've done some stuff. I'm not happy with how this is set up, so I'm going to do some stuff with this. You know, it's life. Man, I have mad respect for all these locksmiths that have these fancy vehicles where, you know, they got a, what do you call it, a 5S, you know, place for everything in a place. I'm thinking when I get a little bit further ahead, funds wise, I'm going to probably get a big rollaway from Harbor Freight, because I can afford Harbor Freight. I can't afford Snap-on or even Husky. Some of those are just too expensive. And Harbor Freight, you know, when you say whatever you want about, you know, the imports, most of them come from somewhere, and they're not all custom handmade by some American guy, you know, that's been doing this for 40 years, you know, with this expert craftsmanship. You know, all these come from somewhere, and you're paying, you know, a tax on something, import tariff or whatever, you know. Anyways, yeah, I don't even go down that rabbit hole, but I'm probably gonna do a rollaway, and then I'm gonna clean all this stuff up. I need hardware and actual packages, and I do have stuff like that. I actually had my GoPro sitting right here. My hand. Let me move this. So I had my GoPro sitting on there, but I need to mark my stuff a little bit better. I have an ultrasonic cleaner. I'm gonna go ahead and start cleaning up. I got hardware down in these bins that I'm gonna clean up with the ultrasonic cleaner and put them back in a service. You know, screw assortments, I may get a bunch of little Ziploc bags and just kind of, with each Ziploc bag, put screws that fit, like certain screws go to Quickset, certain screws go to Select, to make it easier to find. I just noticed I have a hard time finding stuff in this vehicle, and I mean, it may just be sitting right there, but I got too much stuff mixed in. What would be nice, and I've talked about this in previous videos, is to have one brand that will use any keyway, and then just buy multiple finishes of that brand and multiple cylinders, and, you know, in different keyways. And then, you know, if I need a lever knob or a ball knob, then I just pull, you know, whichever cylinder I need for that particular application and put it in that hardware. The only one that I have that's like that is a deadbolt style, and that is the lorry locks. But that also, they use that's a mortise cylinder, you know, but you can also use you know, interchangeable core with the lorry lock, and you can use Medico and you know, the Primus, whatever, with if you can fit it in a mortise cylinder, it'll work in a lorry lock. But what I don't have, and, you know, Master Lock used to be, you can order them in different keyways, but they don't have it just where the hardware itself, you know, and then you just put whatever keyway you want in it. You got to buy that hardware in that keyway. So I'm still kind of looking. I see there's a couple of people I follow, Greg's Jenkins. He has a lot of Canard stuff. I'm not familiar with Canard stuff, so I mean, if you guys have any idea on the hardware, what you find to be the most universal for finish and keyways, let me know. I'd be interested to see. You know, I'll admit that I use Quickset Smart Key quite a bit, in the sense because I can carry a bunch of Quickset Smart Key cylinders, and it'd be nice to buy them in SC1 keyway, and then because I'm always needing the SC1 keyway, the Select keyway in the Smart Key. I hardly ever use KW1, but I like the hardware, and, you know, the SC1's been, to me, more reliable than the KW1. Now, I don't think there's I'm trying to remember if there's a way. I had that tool where you can read the wafers inside the sliders, but I don't remember if that works for SC1. Maybe it does. Anyway, so if you have anything, any ideas on the hardware thing, let me know. Be interested to see what you guys come up with. Here's some of the other stuff I've got set up. I don't know why I had this set up like this. Partly for my son, so he can look at a key blank. And I thought about going back to using neuter bow, but I don't know. It's just easier just to use what's more common, which is standard manufacturer's bow. So anyways, that's all I got. I gotta clean up this mess. Oh, Paul, he's dead asleep. And yeah, I'm just getting there, trying to clean up my mess. Try not to be so crippled, this darn hand. Yeah, look at that. They did surgery in there. They scraped out some tissue in there for this trigger finger release. It doesn't hurt like it used to. It hurt like a son of a gun. I need to keep icing it. You know, I got everything I'm supposed to be doing. I got physical therapy tonight, actually, for that. And it feels a lot better. But now my palm is it's still messed up and on both hands and in my elbow. But I'm 54 years old. You're just gonna fall apart no matter what. It doesn't really matter. So all right, well, hey, thanks for watching. Sorry it's been so long, so I put out a video. It's gonna be a long one. Please bear with me. I cover a lot of different topics, and I don't know half what I'm talking about half the time. When you're just winging it, you just say stuff. So hopefully I didn't say nothing too dumb and go off out of bounds in too many different directions. All right, thanks for watching. Bye bye.